Terry was one of the guys that definitely looked out for me back in the day. Had a lot of fun with him when we did the thing we called it Funk's Grill. So I made a couple of appearances in Funk's Grill. Me and Mark Callis before he was ever the Undertaker. So I just had so much fun with Terry, man.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our all-new episode of the Wrestling Time Machine. I'm your host, Mac Davis, along with my two fantastic co-hosts. First, he is a legendary pro wrestling journalist, Mr. Bill Apter. Hey, Bill.
Well, like I always say, like Captain Lou Banu used to say, I'm a legend in my own mind, brother.
That's for
and our other co-host, WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. Teddy Long. Hey, Teddy.
Hey, what's happening, you, Mac and Bill? Good to be back with you guys. Had a chance to look at some footage from you guys with that Wrestling Hall of Fame. I thought you guys did a great job up there, and you had some outstanding people you had a chance to do interviews with, and I thought you guys did a great job.
You know, I want to bring this up too, and Bill, I know you have some video footage. During that weekend, you spoke with Tony Atlas, and one of the things that Tony Atlas spoke about was Teddy Long. And
he went to town.
And I'm sure he's here to hear this. Yeah, I mean, Teddy, you are one man loved by Tony Atlas. He puts you over big time. I look forward to that interview. It's really good. And he talks about a couple of things that I know you will remember and understand. And it's something I think our fans would love. So, Bill, let us all know when that breaks.
Yeah, definitely will. It'll be on Wrestle Binge. And he talked about times that Vince McMahon demanded you be at the building. There's some great stories there. So we don't want to give it away here.
He wouldn't do the show. He wouldn't do the show without me.
That's the story. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He said how valuable you were to not just the company, but to Vince McMahon personally. And Tony is I always said, he's like a child in a wrestler's body. He's so warm and fuzzy and he's such a nice guy. And he's so intelligent too. He could speak almost on anything. And he does incredible artwork.
Yeah, I've got a picture of myself that he drew of me. I'll send you guys a copy of that and show it to you. But yeah, him and Jerry Lawler are about the two guys that are really top-notch artists, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey, speaking of Jerry Lawler, I saw some footage of him, too. He came out after the show the other night and came out on stage, and he looked fantastic. He looked like I know he's not 100%, but he looks really healthy to me. It was a smile on his face, which was nice to see.
Yeah, he didn't want, from what I understand, he didn't want to come out and do a whole thing. He was a little non-shaven also, but it's the first real arena public appearance he has made since he had that stroke. And he's still, trying to get back to being that upbeat personality, but he's still the king.
All right, here we go, guys. I want to talk about a couple of people that we lost last week. Actually, there was a lot of people we lost last week. I remember at one point I lost count. I even turned to Bill. I turned to you at one point this week, and I said, "How many does that make? 4 or 5?" And do you remember all the names? Because there were some names I can't remember off the top of my head.
Well, there was Rich. I can't remember his last name. One of the ring announcers for Jim Crockett Promotions, of course, Bray Wyatt, Terry Funk, Abe Jacobs. And there was one other death. I don't remember who it was.
I do. The other name was Bob Barker. The Price was
right. Yes.
And he was within the WWE. He did a great bit with Chris Jericho, one of the things that you will always see on highlight reels because it was so funny. But yeah, we lost a lot of great guys.
By the way, they said on Raw that he was like the best celebrity host that they ever had.
I agree with that. Teddy, who do you think were some of the best guest hosts they ever had in WWE?
I got a chance to see Larry King. I liked him. God rest his soul. He was really outstanding when he came there. He was very good.
Let's go back to Terry Funk real quick. Guys, I got a video I want to share with everybody, something that it's a few minutes long, but it was his induction into the International Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame from a couple of years ago. And a lot of people may not have seen this, but it was one of the last interviews that I can recall that I've seen with Terry Funk. So it was one of his last few, I'm sure. Let me bring this up for you. So bear with me.
I think Manny Fernandez drove for like 8 hours to give it to him.
Correct. All right, I think we're going to do it this way. We'll get this. Let's see if this works.
Again, just can't wait to get on the road again. Oh, Willie Nelson, this is a great morning. I'm going to Amarillo, Texas to sit down with the great Terry Funk and present him Hall of Fame induction ring. It's such a great honor to be able to present this to Terry Funk this morning because he's such a great man. He truly deserves everything. One of the greatest, and probably the greatest to ever lace up a pair of boots. My mentor, besides pro wrestling, in and out of the ring, we became great friends and have been that way for over 40 years. So it's going to be a great honor to present him with the Hall of Fame ring. And I know that all the people will be delighted to know that he got his ring. Great morning and a great day. God bless everybody. Thank you. Present someone that means so much to me. From the International Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, this beautiful ring from Seth Turner, to the greatest that ever lived in my book, the best that ever walked down the aisle in this squared circle, who made me the man I am today. I appreciate everything he's done, and this ring is beautiful and presented to you, Terry Funk, and all the funny people.
Manny, thank you so much. You know, Manny and I go back a long way. All the way back to West Texas, played a little football together, and
yes, we did.
And I'll tell you, this is such an honor to me to get this ring presented by him to me and from the organization that it's coming from. This really means something. This is a very special thing. It's something that I
truly deserve.
Well, it's something that my heart just. It just takes my heart away. It does. It's just.
Well, you've done so much for so many. For so many people you put on the map and made their career, especially mine, that I've never forgotten. You know what you did for me in Florida, and I'll never ever forget that.
Well, Manny, there was, you know, a lot of boys came out of West Texas.
Yes, sir.
Or a whole bunch of them did, and a whole bunch of good ones. A bunch of guys that. They took care of their profession and they loved it. And I think that we should have the College of West Texas presented some kind of award sometime in the future.
I agree.
Because for all the boys to take from that.
Yes, sir.
And put into the world of wrestling.
Yes, sir. And all of them accomplished and came top workers and all come with a West Texas State background.
They did. They did. A lot of nutty guys.
A lot of nutty guys, you're right.
A lot of nutty ones.
We can tell stories.
Manny, I can sure tell a few on you.
I know you can.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Wrestling has changed so much since I first got into the profession. Some of us have been able to survive through it. Some of us haven't. A bunch of guys that have gotten themselves a ring, set it up in an arena somewhere, and produce a wrestling show out of love. Not money, out of love.
Wow, how powerful.
Yeah, that was something I just knew that we shared that to a select group a couple years ago, and it just watching him speak again, I'll be honest with you, it kind of gave me chills just watching that.
I want to show you
listening.
something that I dug up about earlier this afternoon. This was taken in the dressing room at Madison Square Garden, 1971.
Wow.
Me with Terry and Dory Sr.
Yep.
One of the first interviews that I did at Madison Square Garden. So, yeah, I want
That's
to
a very cool picture.
Yeah, thank you. Look at that head of hair, huh?
Yeah, I was kind of noticing that. I was wondering if you know, a muskrat or something laid on top of you while you took the picture, right?
Yeah, but I had so many great moments and times with him through the years. I miss him very, very much.
Teddy, I know that he was very special to you as well in your career.
Oh yeah, man. Terry was one of the guys that definitely looked out for me back in the day. Had a lot of fun with him when we did the thing we called it Funk's Grill. So I made a couple of appearances in Funk's Grill. Me and Mark Callis before he was ever the Undertaker. So I just had so much fun with Terry, man, and I did talk to him over the years. You know, he's, like I said, he's one of the guys that I always wish a Merry Christmas to, and I did talk to him while he was ill and stuff. So we had conversations. So I always wanted to let him know I never forgot him, and I was always thinking about him.
You know, one of the Funk's Grills we played on Road Trip After Hours, I think it was just last week. Well, I know it was last week. And it was the one where he introduced Dancing Teddy Long, who came out with, who would later become The Undertaker. But, of course, at that point, it was Mark Calloway, right? Is that how he went by Calloway, didn't he?
Mark Callis.
Yeah, Mark Callis, that's right. And, I mean, but watching Teddy come out, and watching him bust a move right there with Terry was just a fantastic moment. In the face of the Undertaker or Mark in the background, trying to maintain composure for a man who doesn't really break a smile. Watch that video, and you'll see that he actually can if you get him good enough. I
talked to Terry about 5 months ago. I called him, and he went right into. He said, "Bill Apter, what do you want? You're still going to be a pain in my ass. What do you want?" He just was, even though his mind was going a bit and everything, he still had that little bit of spunky. And I asked him if he wanted to do an interview, just to tell the fans how he's doing. He said, "Well, call me back in a week or so." And we never got to do it.
My first memories of Terry Funk, like I was saying a minute ago, was in Funk's Grill with people like Teddy and doing his crazy stuff. But the moment that made the biggest impression on me as a wrestling fan, he was ringside announcing at the table. Ric Flair's in the ring. He picks him up after you think nothing's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, he's pile driving Ric Flair straight through the table. That was my first major memory of Terry Funk, and it's if you haven't seen that, go back and pull those videos up because they're really good stuff. Teddy, was Terry really easy to work with? Did he go by a script, or did you guys just call it on the fly?
Well, we in WCW, we called it on the fly. There were no writers there. You know what I mean? Nobody. We just got our bullet points. We knew what we needed to talk about, and we just we winged it.